All right, well, I'm gonna kind of just get this set up here for just a moment, so make sure my computer's nice and awake. Thank you, Ryan, for helping me with that. I appreciate it. All right, so I might have him come up here momentarily because we might have to test it a little bit. But while we're doing that, oh, there it goes. While we're doing that, thank you so much, Misty. That was a great introduction, and I'm having a blast working on her website. I'm mad at WordPress right now, though, because I'm trying to transfer her domain over to Squarespace, and they're being so rude. So hopefully that'll get done quickly. Just a few housekeeping things. One, I'm very interactive. So if you guys have questions, don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask. Don't be afraid to interrupt me and say, what are you talking about? What? I'm happy to clarify in any way. And also, if you guys want to live tweet the session, if any of you like to do stuff like that, you can. You can follow me at Shayla Raquel. Some people like to do that during these workshops. Others, they're like, no, I got to take notes. So that's fine too, whatever you guys want to do. She already kind of talked a little bit about the things that I do, but I just want to clarify a few more things for you guys. So first of all, like she said, I'm an editor, author, marketer. I'm also obviously a speaker, a book blogger. I'm very passionate about self-publishing. And so I'm also a self-publishing mentor and a dog mom, as you guys will see shortly. So a little bit about my books, which I brought a couple of them here. So Shivers in the Night, I heard you guys are doing an anthology. Again, congratulations on that. So the Yukon Writers Society did one as well. Shivers in the Night includes 10 original short stories from our members. They're all suspense or thriller. And so mine is called The Rotting, which takes place in a Texas body farm. For those of you who do not know what a body farm is, I'll wait for y'all to Google that when you don't have any food on your stomach. Okay, and then The Suicide Tree is my science fiction adventure novel. It took 3.5 years to write, mainly because I kept falling into Plot Hole Canyon. Who's been there? Who loves Plot Hole Canyon? It's awful. I hate it. But the pre-publishing checklist is free always on my website, and I'll give you guys a link for that. Speaking of links, at the end of this session, I will give you guys a link to download the PDF version of my slides. Why can't we have it now? Because if you guys won't take notes. These are my dogs. So these are my babies that find their way onto Instagram and Facebook and everywhere else all the time. So Wednesday's my Doberman. Fun fact, anybody want to guess why I named her Wednesday? Please don't say because of the day of the week. Anyone? Thank you. Okay, excellent. Okay, we already know Baker. He's my little guy here. And then Chanel. She also goes by the name The Hag because she really and truly is a hag. And you have to really, really fight for her attention. Like she's got a really, look how she's a total diva. So when you're trying to market your book, pro tip, shove a pet in there and those pictures will do great. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Let's talk a little bit about the definition of marketing. Now, everybody has their own definition, but this is mine. This is how I define marketing. I define it as your best book, okay? Quality, as you're going to see, has a huge emphasis on everything that I teach. But it's your best book, your unique author brand. Don't worry, we're going to talk about all this. Relationship building, and a big dash of authenticity. Some of you might refer to this as your platform. I've kind of had to rethink the word platform recently. I've kind of started changing it to tribe or community. Sometimes a lot of you, you hear the word platform as an author and you kind of bristle. And you're like, oh, please don't make me do stuff. If I build it, they will come. Let me just shove my book on Amazon or in a bookstore and they'll come, right? But that's not true, is it? I mean, man, that would be amazing for my book to just, exist and I sold it every single day without me having to do anything. That would be amazing, but that's just not our reality. So let's do a little quick consensus. Please raise your hand if you have a published book. Awesome, that's great. Okay, please raise your hand if you have a finished book that you want to publish. Yay. Okay, and for the rest of you, you're like, I don't know what I want. That's fine too. Believe it or not, everything that I'm going to teach works for all of you. Whether you have several published books, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, whether you just started learning how to write and someone just explained passive voice to you, this will work for you too, I promise. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with your best book. I know that's kind of leaning to the left a little bit, but here's the thing, you guys. Again, I work a lot with self-pub authors, but I've worked a lot with traditionally published authors as well. I've worked for Penguin Random House, Thomas Nelson, and Dayspring. And I've learned a lot over the last almost a decade. I've learned an awful lot. And you know what? The truth of the matter is, a good book makes a difference. As an editor, I'm sure you all know that I come across books that are just really, really bad. Like really, really, really bad, right? And a lot of times these authors will just think like, I'm going to skip the editing, or I'll edit it myself, or I'm just going to, shove it out there, or I'm going to produce the cover myself, or I'm going to do this myself. You want to know something interesting? I am an editor, right? Okay. I hired a content editor to do 2 rounds of content editing for the Suicide Tree, and I hired 2 proofreaders. Why? You're an editor. Just do it yourself. No, my brain cannot see all of my mistakes. In fact, my content editor was a total genius because I had written in the Suicide Tree that it was like a 10-hour flight from Pensacola, Florida to, I think I had them in station to like Naples, Italy. She was like, actually it's 14 hours. I was like, how did you know that? She goes, oh, I Googled it. I'm like, oh. Yeah, I guess that'll work. Editors find stuff that you just can't see. And that's why you really want to put quality at the top. So raise your hand if you're self-publishing, if you want to self-publish. Like, there's something to be shy about, guys. Okay. All right. Raise your hand if you're pitching to agents, you want to be traditionally published. Okay. So when we're looking at publishing, quality always has to be the foundation. It has to. Or else everything that I'm going to teach you guys today, a moot point. Okay, everything that I'm going to teach you, it won't even make a difference if you're putting, the lowest quality out there. So when we're talking about a best book, what does that mean? Well, it needs to be professionally edited. You need to also be the one doing rewrites. You need to be studying things. You need to be reading books in your genre. And honestly, I hate to say this, but also read books, please. Shayla, we're all writers. All of us read. That's true? Okay? Because what I've seen is that a lot of writers are over here plowing away writing their books, and I'm like, oh, cool, you write fantasy, that's great. What are some of your favorite fantasy novels? I don't really have time to read. Then you don't need to be writing, because that's like me saying, oh yes, I'm a chef. I've cooked this meal here. I don't eat food, but you'll enjoy it. No, you're going to be like, what is wrong with this chick? Okay, you guys have to think about these things. Always write your best book. Always read in your genre. Next up is a cover. This one is really touchy because if you aren't pretty immersed in the design world in some way, I don't mean that you're a designer. I mean that you can look at a book and be like, wow, that's a drop-dead gorgeous cover. If you don't really know a lot about that, you can look at a cover that was, designed in Microsoft Paint or something and think that looks delightful, but really it doesn't. So when you want to self-publish, just like with traditional publishing, you have to have a gorgeous cover. You have to realize that a cover is what captivates us. When you are in Barnes & Noble, when you are in Half Price Bookstore, when you are on Amazon, when you are on Goodreads, I don't care where you are, if it's a gorgeous cover, you're immediately captivated. Okay, that's the first thing that has to happen. The second thing is your blurb. That thing on the back cover or on the Amazon description or wherever, that has to be well written to what? Entice me to buy. And then there's usually a third thing that we authors love to talk about, reviews. Reviews then tell me, all right, okay, gorgeous cover, cool blurb, now I'm going to buy because I just saw a bunch of amazing reviews for this thing. Okay, or for a lot of us, it's word of mouth. Like, oh my goodness, have you not read The Chain yet? It is so, so, so good. I finished it all in one day. Really? Oh, okay. I got to go get it now. Word of mouth takes place all over the internet as well. But you guys have to understand that in order to market your book, you have to have a good book to market in the first place. Also, you want to make sure that it's professionally formatted. A lot of people can do their own formatting now, which is really cool. There's software out there to do that. But making sure that quality is always at the top of your list, I promise, if you can get that foundation right, everything else will fall into place. Also, this goes for your publisher. For some of you, maybe you're working with a small press. For some of you, maybe you don't have HarperCollins supporting you, okay? So make sure your publisher has the means to back up quality as well. Take a look at their stuff before you sign the dotted line. Are they really, really putting quality first, or are they just trying to make a quick buck? All right, so let's move on to the next thing here. I forgot that I had this cool little clicky thing, so I'm gonna put that in here. I actually remembered to bring it for once. I usually forget, but all right, let's see if this works. Yeah. All right. Okay, so as I said, without these things in place, all the marketing in the world won't matter. It won't matter. You have to present your best book to the world if you want to sell it every day. All right. I like to make people do stuff. So I want you guys to repeat after me. I'll repeat it first, okay? You can't market a dreadful book. Okay, all together. You can't market a dreadful book. How do I know if it's dreadful? Well, do you guys do critiques here? Do you guys ever do anything that kind of, sort of? What about, I don't know, do you think that maybe someone in here could be an accountability partner to another person and be like, I'd love to, I heard somebody say, I know I heard it, I was totally eavesdropping. Someone said, I want to read your dialogue. Like anything, you guys have all these people here, you guys can say, hey, will you read this chapter? Like, what do you think? What do you think about it? You can do that. You can get beta readers. You can work with editors. You can do those things. And honestly, you guys, we become better writers by writing, okay? Keep doing it. Don't give up. You will get better. I promise. All right, so what about for those of you who do not have a book out yet? Go ahead and get your hand up high for me because I want to kind of have an idea. Like, there is no book out yet. Okay, good. So that's actually a pretty good majority of you. You still need to market your book, but the book doesn't exist yet. Hold on. And you still have to brand yourself as an author. It can take a very, very long time to establish a tribe, to establish a community of people who are going to support you every step of the way and make it a lot easier to get your book when it's launch day or whatever, or give you reviews. So I always have authors talk to me and they'll say like, okay, so when do I start marketing my book? And I'm like, yesterday. Just go ahead and start yesterday. And they always laugh, but it is the truth. We need to get started on that. But how? How am I supposed to market something that doesn't exist yet? Documenting. You guys, I'm actually jealous in a weird way of the people who start marketing when their book isn't even like out in the world yet. Because you guys have this unique experience, this unique opportunity to take your readers on a journey, okay? Let me give you an example. David Mike is the author of a memoir called Dishonor. He was in prison for almost like 5 years. He's in federal prison. He had this amazing story. So you know what he did for 2 years? He got a WordPress blog and he blogged his book for 2 years. Okay, now what is the point in that? Well, one, it gave him accountability. Two, it helped him kind of, get used to this whole writing thing. It was new to him. But three, you know what happened? He wound up getting a huge following of people who were reading his story, and you know what happened? They felt like they were a part of his book too. So when he went through all those blog posts and started compiling them and rewriting them and editing them and all those things, I mean, these people were like, David, when is your book gonna release, And he's like, I'm hurrying as fast as I can, because he had this huge group of people who fell in love with his story, and they fell in love with him, and they thought, I got to read this. Other people need to read this. So when it was time for him to launch, at the time when we did this, we did a launch team because I worked with him on it, and he said, why would these people buy my book if they've already read the story on the blog? And I said, because it's their book too. They feel like they had a part in this because they cheered you on and they were commenting on it and they were asking about it and they emailed you and said, your story really touched me. His book has done phenomenally well, and one of his big passions was to have his book in as many prisons as possible, which the last time I checked, he's lost count. I work for the I volunteer for the Oklahoma County Jail, and Mabel Bassett is the state prison there, and his book is there. Like, it's so cool because that was a passion of his. All right, so back to the documenting. I'm not saying you have to blog your book. I'm saying that you need to talk about your book to people. Whether it's taking a picture of you at your little writing desk at 2 a.m. because you've been stuck on this outline forever, talk about that. It might find out that the things that you're going through as a writer, other people might be going through. Let's talk a little bit for a moment about genre, and I'll give you guys some fun ideas. Who here is writing a memoir? Anybody here writing a memoir? You might also know this as an autobiography, not the same thing. But no one's writing a memoir? That's got to be a first. Okay, what about science fiction? Is anybody doing science fiction? Back there, Ryan. Okay, you too. Excellent. So, let's say you're writing science fiction, and you're thinking, okay, I don't even have this thing ready yet. How am I supposed to market something that doesn't exist? I'm going to go out on a limb here, Ryan, and say that, do you think you've done some research for your science fiction book?
Quite probably.
Oh yeah, I would think so. Do you think that maybe, just maybe, some people might find that interesting? They probably would. You can talk about those things, whether it's on a Facebook page or whatever social media platform you like, whether it's a video on YouTube or maybe it's your email newsletter. I don't care what it is, but when you talk about the things you're passionate about as an author, that is what gets people to listen, and we're going to really dig in on that pretty soon. But let me give you another example. I was editing it's a coming-of-age Western. And there's this scene where they're on a boat and bananas start floating in the ocean. You'd have to read it. But basically, bananas, like, holy cow, that is not a good sign. That's bad luck to the sailors. If there's bananas, like, that's bad news. And I was like, she did not make this up. There was some weird research going on here. And I asked her about it. She goes, I know. When I was doing all this research, I found that sailors think bananas it's like a really superstitious thing, and it's bad luck, and da-da-da. And I was like, you have to talk about that. That's fascinating. Talk about your research process. Her book is not published yet. It is still in editing. And she did a whole post about it. And people were like, what? That's so amazing. You guys have little things like that you can share with other people while you're going through this process. Another example, the trustee of the Yukon Writers Society, his name is Gary Medina. Today, he is outlining his entire book, and so he got this fabulous idea to document the process on Facebook Live and have people like check in on him and cheer him on and be like, you got this, and then he's even been posting stuff on Instagram to show like, okay, at this time I'm doing this with the outline, at this time I'm doing that. Get creative. You guys can totally market a book that is not even finished yet. You just have to talk about it. All right, let's keep moving forward here. Authentic voice. This is where we're going to spend some quality time because I really, really, really want to get this through to you guys. It's very, very important. It's everything that you guys need to know about marketing and branding. All right, we have to do another one. I'll do it first. Marketing isn't about using salesy jargon. Okay, all together now. Marketing isn't about using salesy jargon. Okay, let's have some fun. I want you guys to tell me some things that authors have done that just make you want to pull out your hair. You see like a post or an email or something, the book itself, I don't care. I want you guys to talk to me and tell me about something that an author has done that just, you're like, oh, this is such a salesy thing to do. It kind of gives you that feeling like it's this guy with slicked back greasy hair flipping a nickel, in like a back alleyway, and you just feel dirty. It just feels like, ugh, I don't ever want to market my book that way. What have you guys got for me?
Hi, my name is Mike. I'm glad we're meeting for the first time. Buy my book. Buy my book.
Have you ever had them Facebook message you completely out of the? You don't even know this person, and they just blah, here's the Amazon link. Oh, that one makes me crazy. Okay, what else? Keep going. Gotta be something.
When they put in the comments on someone else's, like on your author, like
yeah.
you're talking about something, and
yeah.
they just put like a link to their book.
Oh yeah, like they don't even. That's not even trying to engage with you at all. It's more about buy my book. Here. What else? Let's keep going. Some other things that make you guys just cringe.
here's a pitch for my book. I misspelled a lot of words.
Yeah, that'll do it, yeah. Those are also the same people who leave 1-star Amazon reviews about bad grammar, and then their entire thing is riddled with errors, but that's a topic for another time. Okay, so how do you fix that? How do you not, but I'm supposed to sell my book. Okay, you be yourself the entire time, from beginning to end. How many of you are introverts? Raise your hand, please. All right. I love introverts because you guys have these little secrets. And I'm an extrovert, and I love to get you to talk and talk and talk. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love introverts. All of my close friends are introverts. When you are introverted and you're tasked with the idea of marketing a book, that immediately causes you to get clammy, and you start thinking like, you know what, I'm good. I'll just print the book and hold it and stare at it. Nobody needs to know that it exists. Because what is it that you immediately hear? Self-promotion. And so you're like, no. I can't do it. My author, one of them, I won't say who, but she had that feeling. And so it was literally launch day, and I'm looking all over the place for social media. I'm like, what's going on? What, you haven't talked about your book yet? Oh, I'll do it eventually. I'm like, you're not going to sell any books. So when it comes to self-promotion, there's a way to do it without being salesy and annoying. Not to mention, when you're talking about marketing, it's really great when people do it for you. And that's what I want for you guys. I want other people to be posting pictures of your book. I want other people to be telling their friends and their writers groups and all of that, you gotta go buy this book, that's what you want. Okay, so how do you do that? We're gonna get there. I love segues. Okay, this quote it's so important to me that it's going to be in my next book, which I'm actually gonna pass around shortly. My next book is called The 10 Commandments of Author Branding. It releases next month. And this quote is in there because it is so perfect for everything that I try to teach my authors. Neil says, authenticity has nothing to do with how much you share, okay? It's about what you share. Being authentic means staying true to who you are as a person, writer, or company. Okay, let's talk a little bit about being authentic and what that means. Here's the deal. Whether I am talking to you in my house over a cup of coffee or I'm standing up here on this little stage and talk, you are going to get the same person every time. There is not a different version of me. There is just Shayla Raquel, and I'm going to be this way whether you're at my house, whether we're in a conference, whatever it is, that's who you're going to get. So off the top of my head, it's going to be someone who's very extroverted, someone who's loud, someone who likes to cheer people on. That's who I'm going to be. Who are you all the time? Who are you? What are the things that make you unique? Okay, I want you to just start the process of thinking about that, because I am going to call on some people here in a little bit to delve into what makes you you. That is important to your author brand. All right, 2 words. Know thyself. Who are you? Really? What is it that you're all about? What is your author brand all about? If you do, let's say, romance, okay? If you write romance and you're going to be posting about it or writing about it or being interviewed about it, I don't care, whatever the verb is. Okay, what about it? What's so great about it? What is it that makes you love writing about romance? You know, did you used to watch a bunch of the Disney films and every time the princess would, you know, get a pretty dress and a pumpkin or something, then all of a sudden, you know, you just got really giddy and you're like, oh, I love those fairy tale romances and that's what I want to write. Like, what was the inspiration for you to get into that? Think about the things that make you uniquely you. Take it a little bit further. What is it about Misty that makes me want to hear from her almost every day? What is it about her that makes me think like, yeah, I want to follow all her stuff all the time. I want to read all of her books. I don't care. As I've said, if you can get me to fall in love with you as a reader, I'll read your grocery list. I don't care. Like once I've fallen in love with you, I don't care. You know, I'm very loyal, and readers are so loyal, right? I mean, honestly, I've seen myself do it. There's an author that I'm just in love with. I've read all 5 of her novels, and I think it was novel number 4 that I just didn't really love all that much. I still gave it 5 stars because I just think she's so amazing. You're just loyal forever. There's something about that once you click with an author. So real quick, who are some of your favorite authors? Give me some.
Ray Bradbury.
I'm reading the Martian Chronicles right now. No lie, I love Ray Bradbury. Okay, who else?
I can't hear it.
I'm sorry?
Kent Harrow.
Okay, and then what'd you?
This one, she's since deceased, Lillian Jackson Braun. I just loved her.
Okay.
I'm a cat lady, and I kind of liked how she did the little.
Okay, excellent. Back there, honey.
Dave Pinky,
What does Dave write?
Dogman, and Captain Underpants.
Yes! Let me tell you something about him. What's your name?
Bree,
Your name is Bree? That's my sister's name.
Oh.
Weird. Okay, let me tell you a story real quick. This has nothing to do with anything, but I gotta do this. So, Dave, who wrote Captain Underpants, let me tell you something about him. When he was little and he was in school, he used to do those little comics and all that. He would write his little stories, he would do the comics, everything. He had a teacher who hated it. And that teacher was very, very mean to him, and she told him that he couldn't do that anymore. He did not listen. You can read more on that at some point, but yeah, he just kept doing it, and I think it worked out like pretty well for him. Kind of glad he did. I'm not saying don't listen to your teachers, but I'm not saying that either. Okay. All right. So, all right. Give me a couple more authors. Just a couple more.
Jody Thomas.
Okay. Who?
Amanda Flower.
Okay. Excellent. What? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, Jody Thomas. Okay. What do you love about Jody Thomas? Well, I mean, obviously, it's her characters. Do you think that, I mean, if you were to meet her and hang out with her, do you think you'd have a good time?
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Right?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We know her.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm out of the loop. Well, I'll tell you this. There are certain authors I'm crazy about. I know everybody always goes to Stephen King, but honestly, I read his memoir when I was 16, and that's what made me want to become a writer. I'm pretty sure if I met him, I would just bawl my eyes out. And I love Stephen King because he's hilarious on social media. He has a dog, and her name is Molly, aka Thing of Evil. And here is like 7-year-old horror writer Stephen King throwing a frisbee, like, come on, Molly. And I'm like, I love the internet that I get to see Stephen King posting these dog dad photos. I mean, I didn't have that when I was 16, you know, he was pretty elusive at that point. So it's these types of things about an author brand that is authentic to each and every one of us that makes us unique. It's what makes us interesting. It's what makes us feel like, oh, hey, that's somebody I want. I don't want to just read her books. I want to follow her on all social media platforms. I want to read all her emails. She's speaking in Texas. I will go. I mean, that's just what you want as an author, right? Okay, let's dig just a little bit deeper. John Green. Yes, I love John Green's books. I love John Green's books, and he is very well known in the internet world. Like, there's a part of me that thinks he's more famous just for being on like YouTube and Tumblr than he is for actually being an author. Okay, so when I say know thyself, everybody have something they can write down or type? Anything? Crayons and napkins are acceptable. Okay, that's what I want you to do. I want you to write down 3 things that you are very passionate about. Obviously, writing's going to be on there, so don't do that. We already know that. We know you guys love to be writers, okay? But put 3 things on there that you are passionate about. Something that when somebody brings it up, you're like, I know everything about that. This does not have to do with your book. It doesn't have to do with your book. If it does, cool. If not, that's great too. Think about things you're passionate about. Cooking, sewing, art, music, museums. I'll tell you what I'm extremely passionate about. I am in Texas, so the JFK assassination. I'm not kidding when I say that I'm obsessed with it, and I have spent a lot of time researching it and reading up on it. It has 0 to do with any of my books, 0 to do with my business, but I still talk about it. Why? Oh, I don't know, because it humanizes me and it makes me interesting, and I like sharing my passions with other people who are also obsessed with the JFK assassination. The second thing, true crime. True crime documentaries. Oh, like, when did this happen? I could have sworn just the other day I was watching MTV, and now I'm watching documentaries at like 9 p.m. in my home with like my dogs on top of me. Like, I don't know what happened to me, but I love true crime documentaries. I'm obsessed with all of that because it's very interesting to me. All right, you guys wrote down 3 things, right?
Put down 5.
5, Missy. Give me your 5. I'm ready. Let's go.
Books, dogs, beaches, theater, and travel.
Do you think that by talking about those things, it makes you authentic and interesting by any chance? Even though it might not have anything to do with your book? Because what happens when you follow authors online and that's all they say? check out my book, review my book, buy my book. Did you see my book? Here's my book. And you're like, I get it. I don't want to see that anymore. Talk about something else. It gets really old after a while, so you have to vary your content. Well, I can't always have something that talks about my book. You don't have to. Talk about other things in your life that you love. Okay, give me a couple more. Somebody, yes, way back there. Bree.
Animals, music, and dance.
It's a girl after my own heart. Okay, what else? Get one more. Yes, Betty.
Music.
Music. Do you like to listen, play?
Yes.
What do you play?
A piano.
Okay, talk about those
Folk
things.
instruments.
Post a video of you playing the piano, but that doesn't have anything to do with my book. Again, that's irrelevant. The point is that you are showing what your life is like. That's important to all of us. All right, so I think we've pretty well got that under control. So, quick tip. Value has to, almost always, be at the center of everything that you do. What is value? I'm going to give you a definition here in a minute, but when you think about value, is there anybody here who's subscribed to some really good like writer newsletters, anything like that, like, you know, Writer's Digest or Jane Friedman's The Hot Sheet or Jerry Jenkins? They have some really, really good meaty stuff. And I read their newsletters, I read their blogs, and I mean, it is just oozing with value. You know, I learn so much from them. In fact, I make a joke all the time to Jane Friedman about how I save up the hot sheet and then I go like run a big old bubble bath and I just sit there and read it, and like that's my evening, you know, scrolling on my iPhone with the hot sheet because I love it. It's just like my thing. So she provides a lot of value. What value do you guys provide? Do you provide value? When we talk about that, value is something that makes my day a little better. It might be educational, it might be encouraging, and it might be entertaining. So it's really easy for you to be like, but I write thrillers. What am I supposed to post about that's going to be valuable? That's why the word entertaining is there. Because if you can entertain me, that is valuable to me. You made my day just a little bit better. You took me away from my crazy world for a few minutes, whether it was a video or a blog post or something. And I thought, oh, this is nice. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy this moment. If you can do that, I think you're always going to do well with your author brand. If you're always putting that at the center of everything you do, it makes a huge difference. Okay, so for those of you who are writing, obviously all of you, okay, it does not have to be genre specific, but for those of you who are writing, this is what I want to know.
Sorry about that. I'm leaving.
Please stay, please stay, please stay, please don't go. Please don't go. Don't let some guy ruin your day. Not worth it. Not worth it. Okay, all right. Don't let anybody ruin your day. It is so not worth it. You definitely don't want anybody to ruin your day. You want to have a moment to just gather yourself. That's good too, but honestly, not worth it. Okay, so let's go back to value. Value is very, very important, okay? But I want you guys to talk to me a little bit about what value means to you. You guys told me about some authors that you really, really enjoy. What have they done that's valuable? Like, okay, I'm going to come down here. Okay, what are some things that some authors have done that you think, oh man, I learned so much from them, or they wrote this post that was so inspirational and it made my day so much better, or I read their short story and it just took me away. I was having such a bad day and I read it and I just felt better. Can you guys tell me anything like that? Anything? Yes, Betty.
I like Francine Rivers' books. Does anybody know?
Francine Rivers, I've seen her stuff at Barnes & Noble. What is it about her that provides value to you?
Well, it's Christian oriented.
So that's important to you, right? Okay, so you're a Christian, I am as well. So that's important to you to have somebody where you feel like, she gets me, you know?
We were asking who's our favorites and who we relate to, and I thought, well, why do I like her stuff when I'm writing children's stuff? But I realized she's writing Christian historical fiction, and so am I for children.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's something that brings value into your life. Let's keep going. Someone back here. Come on, my introverts. Talk to me.
Well,
Sorry, I'll come back to you. Way back there.
Somebody else also said this. I'm a Lillian Jackson Braun fan, and I love her books. And she's entertaining. She has a sense of humor, but also reading her books, I'm learning something about my own writing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just how she.
Like her writing style?
She has, well, her style, but she has in her Cat Who books, there's 29 books in that series.
Wow.
And how she connects from one book and plants the seeds in one book for a book like 2 books away, the next, and I'm learning a lot from that.
That's excellent. So that's value to you. Do you see how we all define it differently? What have you got for me, my friend? You had one.
I was just gonna say, you talking about Stephen King, and the thing that I took away early from his writing and him talking about it was how he was fearless
Oh,
in
totally.
terms of characters and
Yeah.
how they act. And just,
And you guys know the story of him taking the rejection letters and he nailed them to his wall, and honestly I've borrowed from that in my own world, not because of rejection letters, but I always tell my authors that when you finally get a negative book review, you celebrate. You make a really, really big deal out of it. I haven't gotten a 1-star review yet. I'm waiting. Like, I know that sounds really weird, but I actually really want one. I have a 3-star, and so what I did for my email newsletters, I put the picture of the suicide tree there, and I copied and pasted her review. And I said, like, my very first 3-star review, you can order the book here. And it worked, like, really well. Because it's okay to have people that don't like your books, right? How many people hate Stephen King, his bank account does not care what you think. But, I mean, it's true. There's going to be people, like, Colleen Hoover is a romance novelist that people, she's about to fire me. People love her, and I don't like her books. I know, please don't fire me. I don't like her books, and that's okay, because Misty does. What works for Misty won't always work for me.
Or Dean Koontz.
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly, right. Is this a bad time to tell you that I had like 6 of her novels and sold them on Facebook Marketplace? This is a bad time? All right. Okay, so let's move forward. The website. Dun, dun, dun. A professional website. Okay, I know. It's tough. We don't always want to sit down and put ourselves out there. Maybe you have Facebook, maybe you have something, but a website, whoa, hold on. That makes it real. Then people are gonna go there and know about me and my book. So that doesn't work for me. But you guys, you gotta have that website. One of the things that's very frustrating for me is not being able to learn what I need to know about somebody. And honestly, if they have social media, it helps. But a website is a central hub for all things you. That's how I get to know you. That's how I can learn more about you. Maybe you have a blog. Maybe you post travel photos. Maybe you have a resources page. Oh man, I have that on my website, and it is one of the most often visited pages because, go figure, I like a lot of books on writing, and so I share that on my resources page, and people love it because it helps them. You need that website, so we are going to talk a little bit about it. And by the way, I know you guys have been working hard on yours, right? The Texas, you guys have one for your group, don't you? How long have you guys had a website?
Oh gosh, forever.
Forever, but you were saying you're making some tweaks to the members side. That's really cool. I love that. I might be stealing that for Yukon Writers Society. I love stuff like that you guys are like, okay, cool, we have this website, let's keep making it better. Let's keep putting it out there because people need to learn about you. But when it comes to you as an author, like your own website, it can be a little intimidating. So I'm going to help you guys. Again, you guys can download this PDF, okay? But when I go to a website, it's very important to me that I can see a few specific things. One, a homepage. Now, Shayla, everybody has the homepage on their website. You would be surprised how many people actually don't have a way for me to go back to the homepage. It'll just be like about and contact and blog, and I'm like, but give me, I need the billboard here. Give me the quick 6-second thing so I can learn who you are. We're gonna play that game here in a minute. Okay, so always an author bio. An author bio is not in first person, it is in third person. An author bio is not 600 words. It is usually going to be about 100. I like it on the short end of 75, on the high end of 150. Sometimes people go over that, sometimes people go under. That's fine. What I don't want is for this author bio to be, you're scrolling, reading the whole thing. That's not necessary. Also, tell me about your books. but it's not out yet. I don't care. Just start putting something out there about it. One of my authors, we just finished up her website. Her book is, I'm talking like bare bones right now, okay? So what we did is we created a book page for it anyway. It's called Hearing Aids is the name of it. And so she has just kind of like, you could almost think of it as a blog post in a sense, where she explains what this book is about. It was about her daughter who had AIDS and how she died at a very, very young age, but what God taught her during that process. And so she explains that on the website. Do you realize that even though her book wouldn't release until late next year, Google is going to be really happy about that because it's going to pick up on that title. It's going to help make it possible to where if I type in hearing aids Vanessa Van Cleve, it immediately pops up instead of Google thinking, what are you talking about? So we'll talk a little bit more about traffic in a moment. Reviews, oh my goodness, a contact page. This is what drives me crazy. There are so many authors, and not just authors, but definitely authors who will not put a contact page on their website. And I cannot figure out how to get a hold of you guys. It's crazy to me. There should always be a contact page. I also do a lot of book blogging, and I work with book bloggers as well. And they're the worst at it. They've got you guys beat. They've got you guys beat by far. And we are going to talk about book bloggers. But I'll go on there and they have, oh man, this great blog, all these gorgeous photos of books. And they've got the bio and here's the review policy. I'm like, this is all great. How do I email you? And I have a system where if I can't find it on their website, then I go to Facebook and I go to their Facebook page and I go to the about and then I see if their email's hooked up to that. And if that doesn't work, then I go onto Instagram and it's very annoying. So I have a very serious pet peeve with that. Please get a contact page on there so that people can contact you. Also, you want to have a blog if you want. Notice that says optional. Everybody thinks like, oh, I have a website, so I have to blog. No, you don't. You don't have to blog if you don't want to. You don't, if it's something that stresses you out, then don't do it. And I understand that marketing, there's gonna be some hair pulling moments, especially as you're learning. But if you blog and you do 2 posts and then you just disappear, there's really no point in that. You might wanna do something else that's more fun for you. Misty has a must-reads page on hers. I've seen people do vlogs where there's just videos, no content, just videos, or podcasts. If you wanna just have that on your website, or not at all. I don't feel like you have to do all the things. I'm that person. I want to do all the things, okay? I am very much I can get all this done in one night, with the right amount of caffeine, and that is just not reality. If you guys speak at all, put that on your website. If you offer any services, put that on there. The book blurb itself, don't forget to, tell people what your book is about. You can have social media on there, copyright, all those things help make a website look really great. And so we're gonna kind of look at that here in just a moment, and I'm gonna answer questions about websites. But this is what I want you to know. A website, yes, it is a central hub for all things you, but it's a business card, essentially. It's an online business card. It's really, really handy to have one of those because it gives a reader the opportunity to learn what they need at a glance. You can educate yourself in advance rather than rushing to get a website up before your book releases. I had an author, he did fantasy and he did that, and it was awful because he could not get that website up in time for his launch, and so we had to push things forward. And that's not fun. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to rush the process. It helps build awareness, obviously, because if you have a website and you're wanting to sell your book, you gotta tell people about it, months and months in advance. And so having an opportunity for people to go somewhere and learn more about you and your book, that's great. Oh, for those of you who are pitching to agents, they would love to see a website. They would love to know that you're putting forth some type of marketing effort. So you really never know who's looking, by the way, at you. So especially if any of you guys take part in the Twitter, the pitch things, what are they called?
Pitch wars.
Pitch wars, yeah. How about that? You might be surprised what people are checking out. Also, it kickstarts your search engine presence. If you type in my name, Shayla Raquel, on Google, immediately my website is the first thing you're going to see. That took a while to do. But that's what you want. Whatever your author name is, you want people to be able to type it in and immediately they see you and they don't have to scroll and be like, is this the right one? Or I don't know if that. You want to have that search engine presence. The same with your book. Unfortunately, when you Google the suicide tree, it still pulls up the actual literal plant, but I am on there on the first page, but I'm not the first thing you see. All in good time. Okay, so let's bookmark this, okay? This is a blog post for you guys. ShaylaRaquel.com/blog/website-must-dos, DOS. ShaylaRaquel.com/blog/website-must-dos. All right, let's talk about websites. So I want you guys to feel free to ask me any questions you want about websites, and I will answer them for you. I will go ahead and answer one question somebody already has. What does my domain name need to be? Your author name. My author name is Shayla Raquel, and so therefore my website is ShaylaRaquel.com. Now, back in the day, it was a really big deal to have like a really cool blog type name, you know, something that was eccentric or different or unique. But you know what happens? People don't remember that. They remember your name. And so it's much better for you to get everything as consistent as you can across the board. The domain name, social media, all of that. So if your author name is, well, for yours, your author name is Misty Cogdill, right? So that's what we're doing for her, MistyCogdill.com. So, okay, I want you guys to take a moment, ask me some questions. Yes?
Author name's not available.
Okay, excellent. So what you can do is, what is your author name?
Mike Akins.
MikeAkinsBooks.com. Author MikeAkins.com. You can do something like that. Some of my authors have had to do that. There's nothing wrong with that at all, because that is going to happen at some point. I was lucky that nobody had my name. But for yours, yeah. Oh, one of mine, Bruce Gardner, someone's already got that domain, so we did BruceGardnerBooks.com. Worked great. Does that answer your question? Okay, what's next? Yes, Ryan, and then...
Oh, I was just going to say, domains are generally very cheap.
Oh, yeah.
So there's absolutely no reason not to go ahead and go to like Namecheap or one of the other domain registrars and go ahead and get it. It's like, mine's like $14 a year.
Oh, please
So
secure your
it's gonna
domain
be a while
name.
to jump on it.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to do that. And you know, by the way, one of my amazing friends, his name is Mike Loomis, and so MikeLoomis.com was taken, so we did MikeLoomis.co. Nobody threw a fit, like everything was fine. So, but it is nice to try to get the .com, but that's what you can do. What's another question? Oh, you back there, yes.
If you're going to use a pen name, how much do you connect your real name with that?
So if you're using a pen name, are you saying how much do you connect the pen name with who you are? Like, your pen name is how you're going to be writing everything you're writing is going to be under your pen name. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, but I'm just asking.
Same thing. Your pen name. So that's what would be your domain name. That's what you would have across social media.
And then when you put your bio and all that, do you just
whatever name.
your pen name?
Yes. What is the pen name you want to use?
Well, I mean, I don't even know.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, it would be all across the board. That's who you are. Like, my last name is Eaton. My name is Shayla Eaton, but my parents they're very indecisive, so they gave me two middle names, Raquel being one of them. And so I honestly wanted to have, kind of like a persona, an alter, whatever cool word you want to use, that I didn't have everybody knowing who Shayla. I didn't want Eaton all over everything. So I wanted to have Raquel instead. So it's still the same. Yeah. Great question. What else you guys got for me? You guys know everything about websites? You guys have no questions about websites?
Paid or free?
Oh, okay. So I recommend Squarespace or WordPress. Squarespace is paid. And honestly, good for them, because the stuff that they provide is just absolutely amazing. I mean, it's crazy. They make my life so much easier because I suck at coding. And Squarespace takes all of that away. So when I'm working with Misty, I'm like, let's put the newsletter on there. And I literally click a button that says newsletter and the blog pops up on there. And it's so gorgeous, so mobile friendly. But they also offer they also offer like a free domain. And then you can get a free domain email address with them for a year. And then they have, Acuity is this scheduling app that costs a good amount of money. So when I schedule consults with people, I use Acuity. But Squarespace bought them this year, and so it's free. Like, the stuff that you get with it is really great. Yes, your question, and I will finish answering yours.
I will probably willing to burn bridges yet, but I got 2 questions here.
Okay.
Whatever it is. Is WordPress free, first of all?
Well, it is if you just treat it as like, what would it be, like mistycogdill.wordpress.com. You can do it for free. I had a free WordPress blog for the first year. So yeah, you can.
Okay, now what about if you have like 2 different WordPress sites for 2 different things, like one personal and one for something else?
I get asked that a lot. So she's, this goes back to authenticity. Whoever you are every day, I mean, just go with that. If you have like a website that's all about the sewing, okay, and then you have your author website, I can see how the 2 of those would need to be separated.
Yeah,
But
this is more of a side project. This is not related to writing at all.
I would just keep it. I would just an author website, absolutely.
But you can have, they let you have 2 sites, is the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, ask yourself, like, why do I need 2? What's going on with the other one that's important enough for me to have?
That's a separate thing.
Okay, then yeah, for her I would. But you can get really crazy with this stuff. Like, I've seen authors who will do a website with the name of their book, and I'm like, so what happens when you write book number 2? Now you have to get a second website. Or I see them do that with social media, where they'll name the name of the book is the name of the Facebook page. Just use your author name and thank me later. And there's nothing wrong with doing free. I did that. The reason that I switched to Squarespace was, 1, I just was getting really frustrated with WordPress at the time. And 2, I really wanted something very, very easy on me, someone who's not that great at coding, and that really seemed to work better for me. And I was fine with the price because it's a tax write-off, guys. So I was fine with that. But honestly, do what works best for you. And then realize, here's what's crazy. Nothing's permanent. You can change it. I did. So that's fine as well. Any other last questions about websites?
One thing that I have on mine, because Kim Black and KimberlyBlack.com, both of those were taken, and it's not even in use. It rolls over to another website now, but I can't buy it. So I've got KimBlackInc.com, and it's INK. But then I also have Kim Black Books that rolls over to that, and KimBlack.net that rolls over to that too. Okay. So you can buy more than one domain name.
Yeah, you can redirect it.
And have it all rolled to one thing.
That means that, like, as an example, my LLC is called Curiouser Editing. Okay, that is my business name. So I went by that up until like 2016, I think. So it's CuriouserEditing.com. Somewhere on the internet, you will see CuriouserEditing.com. If you click it, it's going to take you to ShaylaRaquel.com because I redirected it. That's what she's talking about. Anything else?
Was that second one called WordPress?
WordPress?
WordPress.
Yes. Absolutely. Anything else for me? Because we're going to play a quick game.
So did you get better response when you went from your business name to your name?
Yeah, it worked out a lot better than I thought it would, because that is a big concern, branding wise. But actually, it worked out really, really well. It really did, because everybody was so used to, I mean, that was a lot of I did it, because everybody said, like, oh, Shayla Raquel will help you. They didn't always say Curious or Editing, and that's kind of what started clicking to me, like, yeah, they're going to remember my name better than my business name. So I actually didn't, I was fortunate that it wasn't a big issue for me. All right, let's do the 6-second rule real quick. What is it? Okay, so you have 6 seconds when you're on somebody's website, aka yours. You have 6 seconds to answer 3 questions. Think of it as a billboard. Who is this person? AKA, what is their name? You would be shocked how many websites don't have a name on the homepage. What does he or she do? I should be able to tell, maybe, kind of have an idea of what you write, okay? And what does this person want me to do? You might know this as a call to action, right? Something, you gotta have me do something while I'm on your website, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and try it. All right. I'll give you guys like 2 seconds to see it. Okay, go. What is this person's name? What do you think she writes?
Fantasy.
Fantasy. What does she want us to do?
Read the series.
Yep. She's got that down pat, right? How many times have you guys been on websites and you're like, I'm so lost. I don't know what they want. And then the pop-ups, I swear they're in 3D now and they're coming out of the screen. I know it. I know I can physically reach out and touch them. It drives me crazy. Or they're not mobile friendly. And so you're trying to like make it to where you can read stuff and nothing's happening. So guess what happens? You back out, right? Fact, Google will penalize websites for that. They do not like it when people are on a website for like milliseconds and then get frustrated and leave. They want you to stay on a website for, a good amount of time. If you are constantly backing out of a website all the time, Google's gonna be like, well, they must not be producing quality content. What's going on here? So when you guys are working on your website, do the 6-second rule. Have something. Why not have like a day, a 30-minute session here one time, where you guys all get together with your websites and you play the 6-second rule. There's nothing wrong with that. Ask for help. Ask for feedback. Social media.
Can we take our quick little break?
Yes, I was actually going to ask about that. Okay, so while we take a break, please feel free. I'm going to be right here. Feel free to come up and ask me a few questions if you want. I'm here to help. And there you go. Take a break.